it's worth talking about what happened last Wednesday in Prime Minister's Question Time, because here was Keir Starmer bringing up what had been going on with the transport in London. And then, out of nowhere, Boris open-faced lied to the leader of the opposition and to the House about what was going on. And if Boris Johnson is willing to lie about a balance sheet, then where does his line for lying start and stop? It's absolute madness, but this is the position we are in. But we warned people this is what you were going to get, and I really worry that someone tweeted, I think it was last week, is it strange for people to look back on the days of austerity as days of plenty? And I'm like, bizarrely, I really worry what's going to happen next year, because I think next year is going to be the big woof. I think that's going to be austerity on steroids. And I worry so much, because we've got so long before we can actually remove this absolutely god-awful government. And there you go. So anyway, let's get into the article. This comes from The Guardian, and it's Boris falls into Keir's trap and goes full delusional over Transport for London. It wouldn't be Prime Minister's Questions without Boris Johnson being accused of telling at least one lie. Indeed, in recent months, it has often felt as if Boris has taken a bet with Dominic Cummings to see if he can outdo himself on the lies the week before. But normally, Boris saves his biggest fibs for his exchanges with Keir Starmer. This time, he reversed his top trumps for the London MPs concerned about planned changes for Transport for London and council tax. Not that Starmer didn't yet again comfortably get the better of Johnson. Rather, he seemed to have grown tired of a full assault on the Prime Minister and decided to employ simple logic in an effort to get Boris to commit himself to something that he might later regret. And that was extremely effective, because not only will it be in about a month's time that Johnson will realise just how much trouble he has unwittingly got himself into, though he will probably not care is another matter. Like all narcissists, Boris lives only for the moment. The Labour leader opened with a simple question. How does a region that gets put into Tier 3 ever get out of it? Simple, said Boris. When the rate of infection falls below 1. Fine, Starmer replied. Except on the current evidence, there was no sign of the R rating falling below 1 anytime soon. Only Cornwall and possibly the Isle of Wight currently had an infection rate lower than Manchester when it was put effectively into Tier 2 measures back in July. And we all know where Manchester is now. What's more, there were no guarantees that these regions that had been put into Tier 3 would be much better off than they had before. Even the Chief Medical Officer and the Chief Scientific Advisor said that Tier 3 restrictions wouldn't be enough to lower the rate of infection. And as it had only been proven already that almost every Tier 2 region would inevitably end up in Tier 3. The government was merely piling on months of agony with no exit plan. This was the kind of straightforward logic that inevitably defeats Johnson, and this telltale bullshit kicked in. The shouting, the waving of arms, and the needly glances towards his own benches. Said Boris. He was reviewing each region every 28 days before keeping it precisely where it was. Why else would he have been negotiating a 6-month deal for Manchester if he had imagined there was ever a cat in hell's chance the region of having its restrictions eased before then. Ah, Manchester, Starmer segued very easily into. The Prime Minister, who could waste £400 million on a non-existent garden bridge and spend 6k a day on test and trace consultants that didn't seem to be able to find 5 million for Manchester. Nonsense, Boris blustered. The Tories were a one-nation Conservatives who brought the country together, pitting one council against another. Labour merely wanted to close everything down with a circuit breaker for months on end, aka 2 to 3 weeks. At this, Starmer just zoned out. History would prove one of them right within a couple of months, and he was totally confident he would be history's chosen one. Sometimes it pays to play the long game. Relieved to have gotten off more lightly than he expected, spotting trouble coming down the track has never been Boris's strong point. Boris then went full delusional. When challenged by 3 London Labour MPs and 1 Tory about the proposed shake-up of Transport for London and the responsibilities of Sadiq Khan, the London mayor, it was worse than listening to a child explaining how a dog ate his homework. It was truly cringeworthy. It was also telling just how personal Johnson's hatred for Khan is. He can't quite stand the fact that Sadiq is more popular in London than him, nor can he bear it that Khan has undoubtedly done a better job than he had as London mayor. So Boris went into a hissy fit overdrive, where one lie was immediately topped by another. Sadiq had bankrupted the city. He was personally responsible for the damage to Hammersmith Bridge. At least when your own bridge is only in your imagination, you can't do any damage to it. And Londoners deserved everything that was coming down the road to make their lives more miserable for having backed him. None of which was true. According to TfL's accounts, since Khan took over from Johnson in 2016, he's reduced the deficit by 71% and increased cash reserves by 16%. That TfL is now in trouble is entirely down to the pandemic. Not even Johnson's own MPs could stomach these lies. Asking for the country's trust during a national crisis when you can't even tell the truth about an audit balance sheet is an uphill struggle. If the Prime Minister will lie about this, what won't he lie about? Still, though, Johnson wasn't finished. Before the opposition day debate on Marcus Rutherford's proposal to extend free school meals throughout the holidays up until Easter, Boris was twice asked to take the proposal seriously. Twice he declined. The thing about children that he had just discovered was that they didn't actually need to eat during the holidays. Their metabolisms somehow stopped, and besides, going hungry was the kind of character-building quality that this country would need in a post-Brexit, post-COVID world. It was as crass as a tin-eared Johnson has ever been, and Johnson had already caved to Rushford once, and with the chances that he would not be doing again anytime soon, and he would not be forced to do so again. But when you are programmed to have all failures expunged from your memory, these are the kinds of mistakes that you make. And I have to say, last Wednesday's, PMQs was fantastic. It really was, in the most horrific way. But there you go. And he completely right. If Boris is willing to lie that much, just on that, I mean, the guy in the report was right. Sadiq Khan has done so much more better as a mayor for Boris than Boris ever was, and it's just unbelievable. But there you go. So yeah, please do hit that like and share button, and also if you are new, do hit that subscribe button. And if you would like to support the channel in a different way, there are links down below to my Patreon page, as well as a one-off donation link should you like to support the channel that way. And thank you very much to the people who do support me in that way. Your support is very much appreciated. And with that said, thanks for watching, and we'll see you all next time.